everybody.
Hi everybody.
Parashat Achrei Mot-Kedoshim. Again, in this week we have two parashot that we're reading. These two amazing parashot have so many mitzvot. In Parashat Achrei Mot we have 28 mitzvot, and in Parashat Kedoshim we have 51 mitzvot. Together it gives us 79 mitzvot.
The first parasha, Parashat Achrei Mot. Achrei Mot in Hebrew means after the death. The death of who? Of the two sons of Aaron. If you remember, we had two parashot in the middle, but before that, we heard in the Torah about the horrific story of the two sons of Aaron out of the four that were passed away when they were sacrificing in front of Hashem in the Ohel Moed, the serving tent. And here it starts with what happened after. So Aaron had four sons, and the two sons that passed away were Nadav and Avihu, and the two sons that remained are Itamar and Elazar. And this parasha that talks about what happened next is being read twice. Once here in this coming Shabbat, and later in Yom Kippur. And Yom Kippur is considered the most holiest day in the year. And the purpose of Yom Kippur is to help us to purify ourselves to the level of angels. It comes once a year, and it gives us every year another chance to be able to do it, and from a year to a year to elevate ourselves to even a higher level than the year before. And that's where we should aim, always to improve ourselves, always to look in and to see what we need to improve. So just by the fact that this parasha has been read in Yom Kippur too, in the secret here means what the Torah is telling us is that we have this rare opportunity to connect to the level of purification and energy and love from Hashem that we feel and experience on Yom Kippur right now, this coming Shabbat, during this whole week, but especially on Shabbat morning when we read or listen to the Torah. What comes in Yom Kippur, as I said, is how to purify ourselves. And in order to learn how to do that, first of all, we have to talk about the Hebrew word tikkun. Tikkun means correction. And the whole process of elevating ourselves is to help us to do our tikkunim, or our different tikkunim. Tikkunim is the plural word for one tikkun. What does it mean, tikkun? So, first of all, tikkun means that we have to correct something that we did wrong. It can be something that we did yesterday. It can be something we did 2 minutes ago. It can be something that we're not even aware that we did wrong. And it can even be things that we're carrying with ourselves from past life. Usually, wherever we need a tikkun, it's going to hide with very strong emotions. So if there's something that I see and I don't really feel anything towards it, most likely I don't really have a tikkun there. But if it's something that either make me like strong emotions, like I hate it or I love it and I'm drawn to it, that's something that has to do with my tikkun, with what also my purpose in life. And how do you do tikkun, right? How do we even know how to correct things? So the step one, the first step, is to acknowledge that we have inside us different emotions and behaviors that are hurting ourselves and others. The recognition is the number one, the first step towards our correction. If we do not acknowledge that we have those feelings, if we do not acknowledge that we're doing things that are harming others and that it's not okay, then it's very, very difficult to do our tikkun. Yom Kippur brings us this remarkable energy, And again, it reveals this week. But this amazing gift that we can just plug in and connect to comes with the responsibility. You're going to get all that if you're willing to take the responsibility. If you're really willing to do the first step. What is a step? To walk in, to make the recognition, and then to step more forward and open the gate so that you will be really doing this inner change that will bring you to maybe a new path in life, maybe a path that was parallel to where you are now, waiting all along, and you were frustrated and you felt, I know there's something better for me, and it just doesn't come because there's something that's holding you back. And that feeling is correct. But how can I do my part to cleanse and to help to make that inner change that will be just like micro and macro? It will affect my outside, my environment, and it will change my course of life and my destiny. Because we all have a choice in this world. That's why Hashem, God, brought us to this world. He respects us greatly. And even though He can send us His messengers, He can send us angels, He can send us different signs, that's the wrong way. If we still choose to do it, even from self-destruction, that's our choice. We have a choice in this world. Better that you choose the right one. So when we feel the first feeling towards a correction, that feeling will not be always a good one. The beginning is always going to be something that we feel with like fear, because you feel that this is somewhere that was like, it's hurtful, or it's something that, again, we have strong emotion there. And usually that emotion involves fear, and you feel this is something that is spoiled, this is something that is not good. So you either feel the fear right away, or you feel the anger, but you know this is something that is like an unsolved matter. But once you agree to be brave and to jump in and not to be afraid and not to let your anger rule you, over you, you start seeing what's really going on, and you have the chance to really bring to a correction. And once you do a correction, you feel it. Sometimes it's even painful, but then you feel, I did it. I cleaned something that who knows how long I've been carrying with myself. And that's not me. It's just something that happened, and now I'm correcting it. And the hardest part is to really go and, if we think about it, why in this parasha we have the power of correction. Because think about Aharon. Aharon just lost his 2 sons. He knows that he has great responsibility in what happened because of the sin of the golden calf and his part in it. That's why he acknowledged that, and he takes the responsibility with all the pain. But now for him, what do you feel when you're mourning? You want to close yourself somewhere, you want to get away from everyone. The last thing you want to do is now to wear the Kohen Gadol, the high priest clothing, and go into the Ohel Moed, into the tabernacle, and serve Hashem and serve all the people. But that's exactly what he needed to do. He needed to see that that's it. God is not mad at you. God assigned you to this job because you are the best person to do it. And you have to just go in and do your job the best you can. And now Aharon can actually serve even the most vicious people in the nation and understand them. So the hardest thing for Aharon to do was to go back into the Holy of Holies and serve as the Kohen Gadol after the death of his 2 sons. And that was his tikkun. That's what he did. And once he did that, he did his correction. And he became a more complete man. Not only he went in during the Yom Kippur work, and this is what we're learning here in this parasha, what the Kohen Gadol had to do during Yom Kippur, he had to go in and out 4 times. 4 we know is a very special number also. It's like the sacred name of Hashem. So 4 times in and out, and every time he had to change the clothing, just like he's, taking his old self and putting a new one, elevating him again, then taking it off, going to the next level, 4 times. And then he knew, I made my correction. Hashem forgave me, and I did what I needed to do. Those 4 times that he went in and out, took off his clothing, the old clothing, and put new ones. It's like you're taking off the old, what is bad, and you're putting the new, the good. And when we do our tikkun, that's how we need to do it. We have to think, where are our negative thoughts that are holding us back? Where is our ego that is holding us back from, doing a correction, a tikkun with someone that we feel that it's very hard for us to do it, but we need to? And where we put inside, instead of that old, instead of those negative thoughts, we put positive thoughts. We put love. And, they asked Hillel and also Rabbi Akiva, they're very big sages, if you look at the whole Torah, how can you summarize it into one small sentence? And the answer was, Ve'ahavta lereacha kamocha. In English, they translate it to love your neighbor like yourself. And, this is the whole Torah. So it's very hard to really feel love for other people when we, not always feel that love, right? Or when we're mad at them, if they hurt us. But at least don't hate them. And always know in your heart and in your mind that the next step will be to really love all of them. Respect their human dignity, even if they do not respect themselves. Even if they don't live by that rule. Try to have compassion and love to everyone.
As I said in the beginning, this week we have 2 parashot. The first one is Achrei Mot, and the second one is called Kedoshim. Kedoshim means holy. A lot of the times people think about holy people, and we have an image in our mind of loners, people that live somewhere on a mountain, people that don't have any connection with the world, people that are very different from us. But the Torah says that that's not true. Parashat Kedoshim starts with the sentence, Ve'amarta lahem kedoshim tiyu ki ani kadosh. And you said to them, you'll be holy because I'm holy. But what does it mean? The Parsha reminds many times about sins that you have between a man and another man. And the Torah teaches us, what does it really mean to be a person? What does it mean to be a man? And how we should act and get ourselves to become holy. So how are we going to do that? We're going to live humanity, or we're going to live on a mountain? Well, God created humanity. And in Parashat Bereshit, it says that God created us in His own image. So we need to learn the ways of God, the way of the Torah. In Parashat Kedoshim, you have 51 different mitzvot. Most of the mitzvot that are mentioned there are between a man and another man, with his friends, with his family, his surroundings. And those are coming after the mitzvot between man and God. Now, let's look inside into us, to our own character, but really look inside. There is a mitzvah over there that is mentioned twice, actually, in the Parsha, but in 2 different ways. In Leviticus 19, verses 15, Lo tasu avel b'mishpat. You will not make an unfair trial. Lo tisa dal velo tehedar pnei gadol. So you will not make any differentiation if somebody is poor or rich in the way you look at them and the way you judge them. And the second one is in Leviticus 19, verses 35, Moznei tzedek, avnei tzedek, eifat tzedek, Vehim tzedek yiyu lachem. So he talks about you need to have the justice scale and justice weight, and he talks about justice several times. But why does the Torah mention the word justice 4 times in a row in one sentence? Because a person needs to judge himself the same way as he judges others. Because justice, midat hadin, is very accurate. Why? And we need to ask ourselves why. Because if you look at it, everybody thinks that he knows what's right and what's justified. And you need to remember that the biggest crimes in humanity made by the name of justice. I know you ask yourself, what? What do you mean? Because people are judging on what they seem to see and what seems to be right to them. If you go and check, if you go and check every terror group that harms other, you'll get the same answer, that they're doing it in the name of justice, their justice. But the true justice is divine. And people can abuse justice and use them to harm other people. And the Torah teaches us that in order to do real judgment, true judgment, it has to be justified. And we need to be judges in our lives and see the truth, the real truth, not what we think is right for us. And we shouldn't judge anybody or anyone in an untruthful way. Because let's say somebody is a friend of ours, or somebody is a very rich person that we want to get something from. And so we say, oh, he did it because this and this and this and this. We don't give the truth, because the truth might be that he did not do something justified, but we are bending the justice to our own needs. And then you can justify something that is bad. It starts with something small, and then later on it can become something big. Think about it in your own life. If you saw something like that, I can think of some in my life. The Torah warns us that the same way we're judging others, this is the way that we are going to be judged. And as part of our correction, God shows us in our life situations that we're actually judging, and we're judging others, but we're not judging others, we're judging ourselves. And most of the time, we're going to put ourselves with all the excuses and justifications, and when somebody else is doing it, we're going to say, oh no, this guy is wrong, we should hang him in the middle of the town. As part of our correction, God brings us situations in life that we're going to judge. And we're going to see it between this person and this person. And we're going to say, oh, this person is so wrong. And we should do this and this to them. Be careful. Because in that moment, you might be judging yourself. Because God will not show you something that you did, and then you'll give yourself the excuses. He will give you the same situation that you had in your life in a different way, and you're going to give the justice for. And even if you see somebody doing wrong, and you say, you know what, I have to tell him that he is wrong. I have to tell him. Then there are 2 ways to do it. The Torah says, "Hochach tochiach et amitecha, lo tisna bilevavecha." What does it mean? You have the obligation to tell somebody that is doing something wrong, but you cannot do that if you hate them in your heart. The Zohar explains that you're not allowed to tell anybody something bad in public, even if it's the most righteous thing and the most important thing. You need to look at him as your friend, your beloved ones. And if you're not really able to love that person because you want to correct him, then you cannot really tell him what he's doing wrong. You're not supposed to hate somebody in your heart, but who doesn't fall in that? The Perush of Bechor Ashor says that even somebody did something very bad to you, you should not hate him in your heart, but tell him, why did you do to me this and this? And you have to do it on the side, not in a place that other people can see, so this person will not be feeling shame. And from there, you will be able to get into loving that person. This is the way to correct it. Thank you very much.
Thank